Hello and welcome to UTP Exchange, where ideas converge, the official podcast of University Technology Petronas. Now, this is the platform where we bring together thought leaders, innovators, and change makers to explore bold ideas and innovation shaping the future of education, research, and technology. Today's conversation is especially meaningful as we reflect on how universities must evolve in a rapidly changing world, not only as centers of knowledge, but as institutions that shape humanity, purpose, and sustainable progress. Now, for this episode, we are honored to feature a distinguished global academic leader and scientist, Professor Dr. Reiko Kuroda, and we are proud to introduce her as our very own UTP International Advisory Council member since 2018. Now, it's almost 10 years now. The discussion shall revolve around an increasingly important topic, which is future universities in a changing world, navigating sustainability, innovation, and human-centered leadership. Please allow me to introduce Professor Reiko. Before we start, she graduated from Okanomizu University with Bachelor of Science and the University of Tokyo Graduate School with Masters of Science and PhD in Chemistry. After her PhD, she worked at King's College London and the Institute of Cancer Research in the UK before returning to Japan in 1986. In 1992, she became the first ever woman to be made full professor of natural sciences at the University of Tokyo. Now, that's very inspiring. Her field of research is primarily chirality, left and right asymmetry in both chemistry and biology. She was a member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. She has also served as Vice President for External Relations in the International Science Council and served as a Scientific Advisory Board member of the United Nations Secretary General on Global Sustainability. She is Fellow of the World Academy of Sciences for the Advancements of Science in Developing Countries and a Steering Committee member of INSA, or known as International Network for Government Science Advice Asia. She is currently attached to Chiba Institute of Technology, Japan. So, welcome, Professor Reiko, to the podcast.
Thank you.
It is indeed an honor to have you here. Prof. Reiko, after hearing your remarkable journey spanning science, academia, and global policy engagement, I would like to ask, now looking back, what experiences have most shaped your philosophy and your thoughts towards scientific excellence and academic leadership? Prof.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. I'm very happy to talk with you and also talk maybe to the people. Now, looking back, I think the big jump I did is I left Japan and I went to England. Just I got PhD. Of course, the situation on those times in Japan for women scientists is not easy. You couldn't get research position at universities if you're a woman. Even you got the PhD from the top university. And if you go to completely different country, different history, different culture, and you put yourself into completely different environment. And you can learn a lot, you communicate, interact with people with a different background. What you take it for granted may not be the same as what they take it for granted. So you start thinking about, oh, what is it? What is the best thing? You start thinking about it. So that may be the big jump. Then in the UK, I changed my research, extended perhaps the research field from chemistry to molecular biology. And that could have been done easily in England, maybe more difficult in Japan. So that may be my big jump.
Thank you, Prof. Reiko. Now, your academic leadership, so to say, your adventure in academic pursuance and commitment towards excellence are truly outstanding. So, your earlier reflections also highlighted something very important, that universities today, or we as academics even today, are no longer operating in a stable or predictable environment. So universities are faced with a lot of challenges today, Prof.
Yes.
Reiko, from
Yeah.
technological disruption like AI and sustainability challenges like energy security. So against all this backdrop,
Yeah.
in your view, what truly defines a future-ready university?
Well, we are living in a very rapidly changing society. You know, you heard the word VUCA and more recently bunny. VUCA is V is volatile. Okay. Then U is uncertain and C is complex and A is ambiguous. That was started, people start talking about it in 1980s and 90s in the United States. But nowadays in the Davos sort of meetings, people start talking about 2017. Bunny may be more appropriate to us. What is bunny? B is brittle. And as far as I know, I think perhaps volatile, it just evaporate, nothing left. But brittle, you have to deal with some broken pieces. That means it's not clear. You really have to fight with brittle things. So things are more difficult to handle in brittle than volatile. That's my understanding. Okay, so the bunny A is sort of more to, no, N is more important, non-linear. So, like, have you ever heard of butterfly effect? Small things, just small thing in one part of the world, change in the other part of the world. So influence is much bigger than you thought. And it doesn't go linear way. Linear, we can sort of understand it easily, but non-linear thing, it's out of control, it's incomprehensive. That is the I. I is incomprehensive. You cannot understand why this happened. You know, it's why AI started. Maybe no point to think why it started, but so that is incomprehensive. So that's the world we are actually living, and anxious. That's A is anxious, brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensive. That's the word. So now, what we do for university, we cannot do things by predicting. This can happen, so we should educate students this way. That may not be more important in a sense. We have to make students more resilient, and also they have to think the future is not something you predict for, but you have to think what sort of future you want to create, because it's incomprehensible, it's non-linearly, it happens. But is it, you had some idea, but may not come, but still you, if you thought about it, it's your vision. Then you can set mission. What can I do to achieve my idealistic future? And of course, your surroundings keep changing. So you have to be adaptability, resilience, and also empathy to the situation. And also not only yourself, there are many people in the world with different suffering, different background. So you have to have empathy to other people. Then that is sort of creative thinking, critical thinking. This, we're asking so much for universities to educate, but that, I think that is really, we are expecting for good universities.
Yep. Thank you, Prof. Reiko. That's a very good reminder. Now
Yes.
that universities today, we cannot remain static,
Yes,
you would say. Yeah?
exactly. Yeah.
So we are not operating in like what you mentioned just now, a VUCA world.
Mm.
And it's very concerning
Yeah.
because it's increasingly becoming bunny world.
Yeah.
BANI, right?
Yeah.
So let me remind
BANI.
myself again. Bunny, B is brittle,
Little
A is anxious,
anxious.
N is
Linear.
non-linear,
Yeah.
and
I is
incomprehensible.
incomprehensible. That's really
Okay.
terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, terrible,
Yeah.
very scary. Yeah. So, with all these ongoing global challenges,
Mm.
Prof, with all these geopolitical tensions, the
Yes,
war from the
nowadays.
Middle East, you mentioned
Yeah.
butterfly effect just now,
Mm-mm.
economic uncertainties,
Mm.
and also climate change issues.
Yes.
So, in such environment, yeah, how should us universities
Mm.
respond to these rapid disruptions and complexities, in
Yes.
your view?
Well, first we have to know what we are. You know, we are one Homo sapiens, one species in the whole history of maybe just started from bacteria to evolved. So we are actually in ecosystem, sort of interacting with some other living organisms, with some chemicals, maybe CO2 or water or whatever. So we are actually interacting with all these things. So that is just first thing you have to think. Then you think, yes, what we can do. Things are changing, but that basic has never changed because what we are, where we are from, and what we are interacting with the other surroundings is the same. That means we shouldn't destroy ecosystem. We shouldn't put microplastics to the ocean. That thing you have to. Then what you can do is, as a scientist, as engineers, what can I contribute? That's the way you have to think. That way, it may be the only way you can do it because you cannot. You have to accept what's going to happen. You cannot change it, but you can create the future. You can vision what you want to create.
Mm.
And so that must be what you want to do. Yeah, it's very difficult work.
Yep, yep.
Yes,
Not
you
easy.
cannot predict, and you cannot predict. That's the thing. That's the reason you have to become idealistic. That sort of future I want to create. Then what we can do for that?
Yep.
Then you don't have to think about only your university, only your country, only human beings. We are all interacting, and
Mm.
things are dynamic. So, but you have to enjoy. Don't think it's really terribly hard world we're living. But you say, oh, what's coming next? It's really exciting. AI. Maybe my parents never thought about it. You know, all these internet. Oh yeah, 40 years ago, no one knew about it. But I'm living in that world. Even the bad thing like COVID-19. But I told my students and my colleagues, we just like Isaac Newton. He was, he went, because of the plague in those days, he had to leave London and he had to Warsaw near Oxford, where he came from. And he was sort of thinking, then he found this gravity there. So he created something really big thing while he was sort of evacuated, perhaps from London to Warsaw. So this is one chance. So I said COVID-19 because you lost some friends, and the friends suffering from that disease is really bad. But don't think we are exciting living in a really historically remembered era. And what can you create? Something new you cannot do otherwise. So
Mm.
I'm telling the thing, I could manage to do one thing, which I cannot normally do because I have more time to do experiment. So I succeeded in one experiment. So I'm telling others, don't complain, oh, it's terrible. still going on and these things. But yes, it's really bad. And so some people are losing their lives and the relatives. It's very bad. But you have to think we are living in historical era, and we have to do something to make this turn to something good.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yeah.
So disadvantage is a screw. I keep saying you can change pinch to some chance. You have to change. And that means you don't complain you're depressed. No, no. Okay, we have to accept it, but that's a resilience.
Yep.
And you have to adapt it, but you have to create even better world because of that.
Yep.
So it's always positive thinking.
Positive thinking. I
Yes,
like that.
always.
That changes are always happening around us, right?
Yes,
So it's
indeed.
how we adapt and how we embrace, right?
Yes.
And so it's we must always remain agile and resilient. Yeah. So Prof, it's very interesting to see how the world is progressing towards sustainability. Many people are talking about energy transition, about energy security, regenerative system, circular economy towards sustainability, for instance.
Yeah.
You mentioned about plastics and microplastics just now. So
Yes.
maybe you can share with us some thoughts about how do we progress towards embracing greater sustainability, Prof?
Yeah. Well, what I think is people are actually forgetting about the importance of petrol. Because yes, we should shift from fossil fuels to more sort of very good for environment, like wind or solar systems. Yes, that is. I think it's imperative. It's important, and also we shouldn't throw plastic away because of the microplastics. That is very bad environment. That is really true. But look at these. Everything is a product of petroleum. It's oil product. Without this, we cannot survive actually. And even the top, really highly advanced engineering without plastic cannot get to the purpose, like high temperature, they can resist in high temperature, etc. So I think the naphtha, everyone knows about naphtha. Naphtha is very, very important, but don't use it for burning. Naphtha is to make some chemicals, some plastics, maybe synthetic rubber. Without that, we cannot continue our lives. And nowadays, because of the Middle East crisis, people worrying about the shortage of naphtha. So how does it affect? For example, you cannot do operation because disposable gloves, you cannot have it. For dialysis, for diabetes patients, you cannot have a tube. This should be disposable. And these are made of plastics. So, and they said you can get a nice crop of rice in autumn, but there is no bag to put it. Okay, so this is just the beginning. So film wrapping, all these things, it has to be, don't burn oil, but oil should be for this as a chemical material. That I'll keep saying it. But just don't, we have to recycle used plastics. So I'm saying the waste, used plastic is a solid petroleum. It's a treasure. So don't say just that is causing microplastic, environment hazard, bad thing. No, no, no. This is a treasure. We have to use that material using UTP's new technologies to upcycle even better quality. You can do that. And there are market and also the area we need research to upcycling the waste plastics. So by doing that, I think we are much better off. Good for environment, good for human beings, and for the next generation computing, maybe even high quality semiconductors and some robotics. We need better quality plastics. So that you can do it.
Okay.
UTP can do it.
UTP can do it.
Oh, yes, I think so.
All
You
right.
had chemical engineering, mathematical engineering, And these days you use AI, so AI can good to data mining. So I'm just encouraging the people. Yes, UTP has a better chance. Don't think we are just doing petroleum. No, 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 no. You are in a very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prof, research and
Mm.
innovation could
Mm.
certainly lead to technological advancements.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and I
exactly.
would say that all these technologies can be game changer with
Mm.
regards to pursuing sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
right. So, however, Prof, if we were to look at in today's world, so there's so many technological advancements in the
Mm.
world, right?
Mm.
However, we find it still paradoxical, I would say.
Mhm.
It's a paradox to say that there are so many technological advancements, some are game changers, but we are still faced with unprecedented climate change issues, for instance, or scarcities in resources, for instance. So there are so many sustainability challenges. So, in your view, how can all these technological advancements really support a balanced sustainability agenda?
We have to have a good communication with politicians,
Uh,
or some people who can influence the community, because these days fake news and always something maybe deliberately, sometimes just misunderstanding. It is untrue story goes around, and they don't realize what sort of situation we are. We have this good technologies developed in ones. Others do really damaging environment by bombing, burning something, and we're just trying to save a little bit of plastics. You know, working really hard to not to use the plastic bag, not to do this, and others are doing really incredibly bad thing to damage.
yeah.
Just voice are really bad. So, but it's this is the actual real world. But what is important is really scientists, engineers. Um, they really had a very good communication skills
Mm.
to talk to the government, talk to the people, talk to the general public, not talk down, but try to let why they don't understand this, or can we have something we learn from the general public, or there may be a reason they think that way. So we may have to learn, then we may be developing something more, better one, or adapting to what they require. So that means a trust and communications between scientists, engineers to the other part world, maybe politicians or maybe another scientist or maybe social scientists or the general public. So it's a communication that we have to create a trust.
Mm.
Mm.
So communication and perhaps education as
Yes,
well,
of course.
it would be very important
Mm.
in this particular
Mm.
area. Now, as you know, the university's part of the university's bread and butter is to educate future leaders, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So as we shape and prepare the future engineers,
Mm.
future technologies,
Mm.
future leaders,
Mm.
within or for an increasingly complex world, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I would think that academic excellence alone may not be enough. It may
Mm.
not be
Mm. Mm.
sufficient.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
in your view, what are the qualities or values that will truly differentiate our graduates to lead with purpose and create impactful and meaningful solutioning for a better future?
I think not only spend all the time onto your selected course, only some chemical engineering
Yeah.
only, or some petrochemistry, or not electric engineering. That you have to have slightly different topics to work on, and you have to enjoy it. No, not because you need interdisciplinary degrees these days. I have to take that one. Not that way, but if I want to, but the thing is, I want to create that sort of world. I want to do this in my future. Then I need extra topics to learn. Maybe my second, choice, but I want to work on it. So you have to broaden your idea, and also it's very good to read books.
Mm.
For example, or you attend some lectures. Someone gives maybe slightly out of your own subject. But that broadening ideas, and also you better enjoy it. Sometimes you may go to museum, sometimes you go to concert, sometimes you attend some seminars, lectures with your friend. You may encounter and become friendly with completely, friends with different background. So that really broaden your horizon, broaden your personality. So don't make very narrow-sighted students. They may get the high scores, they may get the good marks on exam questions, but that's not the best, we supply to society.
Mm.
I think we need a good thinker, great ideas, and also you can communicate, you can understand empathy to other people. That sort of people we really need. And on top of that, like UTP, about their topic, we really trust them. They're excellent in that topic. So that is a thing we need. So the main thing we are really good at the petroleum engineering or petrochemicals, whatever. Then, but they have some other qualities that you have to create. Then they really appreciate these students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prof, speaking of broadening horizon,
Mm.
right? You have been an exemplary for many women. You have been a very strong advocate for diversity and inclusivity, especially in science and technology. So, can you share a little bit, Prof, on your aspiration for women, especially when it comes to innovation?
I don't know what stops women to innovate, nothing, I think. And maybe not exactly the same as men, of course, but we're not completely separated, like oil and water. No, there may be some overlaps. Some men are more like women, some women are more like men. Of course, we have some distributions. We're overlapping. And, but because we are different,
Mm.
we can work together. If we are the same, no point. Men and women help each other. And also we have a good point and also weak point. And that we have to don't criticize the weak point. We have to appreciate the good point for other gender. But I don't think there is nothing that women stop thinking about innovation. If someone said, women, you cannot do this, no, no, no. You may not be able to carry very heavy stuff, but women can do multitask, for example. That is I don't know if it's scientifically proven or not, but it's quite often says man is good at concentrating on one thing at a time. Women, babies are crying, someone at the door, you are cooking. You have to do many tasks at the same time. So women are really used to do multitasks. In a sense, it's sort of a joke, but I think it's really true. And I think women are quite good at looking at many things in one go. That means multitask. Women's better. And for innovation, of course, just one view is not good enough. To innovate is influencing society. Okay, so that means you have to understand the culture, tradition, what the society is waiting for. That means it's a multitask. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So women should not be scared to
No, no,
embrace
no, no.
STEM, science, technology,
Yeah.
and innovation. The world needs more women, in fact,
Yes,
to
indeed.
innovate. Yeah, because the thing is that women and men, we complement each other
Yeah.
with regards to the works and innovation because we're
Yes.
very different,
Yeah.
but we complement one
Yes,
another, right?
exactly.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Prof, coming back to the university, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we see, UTP is more and more evolving from oil and gas focused,
I know.
petroleum
Yeah.
focused institution
Mm.
towards future energy and technology leadership.
Yeah.
What opportunities do you see, Prof, in this kind of
Yes.
transformation that we are going through?
As I said earlier, it's I just repeating the same thing. But you're strong at petrochemistry, petrol engineering. Don't forget about it.
Mm.
So making this sort of the jumping book, you, as I said, you have to recycle plastics, for example. Yeah. So material recycling, one thing, but chemical recycling to upcycling, you can create better plastics. That I think you can do it in UTP because you have the really history of working in that area, and people will really appreciate. Oh, you're not doing the fossil fuels. You know, they got some funny filtered idea. You've been only Petronas doing, but actually Petronas itself is changing the direction, and you can do how to more efficiently use fossil fuels, for example, but don't use it to burn it. It's important chemicals that it's vital for us. Without that, we cannot survive. So we have to really, UTP can do a lot about this in this area. Because you're doing some nuclear things, but that takes time, and some other universities in the world or some industry doing, you can collaborate, but you cannot become the top of the nuclear engineering, starting from now. However, you can collaborate with other places. But for the petrol plastics, I think you may be the leading. And you had an education wise, you have been doing that. So I think it's a very good starting point.
Yep, yep.
So that's, I think, expecting UTP to become a world leader of this recycling plastics and the material sciences and how to use oil far better way for future of human beings and also the earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Prof, this is a very interesting conversation that we're having here. However, we are already towards the end of the
Oh,
podcast.
I see.
So I still have one more question for you,
Oh,
Prof.
yes.
Just my last question. What message would you like to share with our UTP communities as we navigate the future together, Prof?
I think you have to enjoy,
Enjoy.
okay, what you're doing. No, it's not torture of going to university, passing exam questions. If it's a torture, you are not cut out for that. But you have to enjoy what you're doing. And you have to look at the future because you are doing this, because you want to do this. So your passion, what you want to do. And also you have to communicate with others. We can work together. It's much more enjoyable to work. So don't make narrow-minded. Just focus on the next exam questions and next marking. But you have to really, as I said earlier, go to concert, go listen to the really great work of some previous scientists or concert or whatever, or you're doing sports, you really you have to enjoy the wonderful life you can have at the UTP. Many good uh, activities you can do it here. Yeah, and the library, fantastic. You had some new center for students. Oh, I wish I were students here. I thought. So yes, I think you.
That's a very good promotion for us, Prof.
I wish I
You can
can,
get
but
more students into UTP.
yes, because I'm far too old to be accepted. I may not pass exam, entrance exams, but I think they're getting very good education. They're good care. So, but you have to thank them first. Don't only demand. I have to thank. I'm really lucky. I can be a student here. But for that, I really have to work, but not seriously all the time. Enjoying your future, you plan your future, vision your future, and enjoy your student life.
Okay.
That's important.
So enjoy,
Yeah.
positive mindedness,
Yes,
and
indeed.
passion. Yeah, so
Indeed.
those are very important message from you there.
Yeah.
So, Prof. Reiko, thank you for generously sharing your insights on navigating sustainability, innovation, and also human-centered leadership in a changing world for future universities. So you've been listening to UTP Exchange,
Yeah.
where ideas converge, UTP's official podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, do follow the series and share it with your network. Follow UTP Official for more conversations across academia, leadership, industry, and the wider UTP community. Until next time, let's keep the ideas converging. Thank you for joining us.